So who among us doesn't love an Easter egg? In video game form, they can serve as a neat little reward for those who dare to stray off the beaten path and examine every last nook and cranny of their game world. But every so often, players stumble across an Easter egg so thoroughly cursed, that it invades their dreams, and it will make you immediately wish you could unsee it and unthink it. Simply put, these deeply unsettling Easter eggs will leave you reaching for the eye bleach, so let's unfortunately look at them together. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are the 10 most unsettling video game Easter eggs. But you know what, friends? I'm glad that I'm not actually doing this alone, as thanks to Dave Mobile's suggestion from last week's video, at least I know I've got a fellow gaming enthusiast's hand to hold if things get a bit too spine-chilling. And Dave's entry is going to appear later on in this list. And if you want to be part of next week's video, then just have a think about the best single-player game that for some reason or another you never got around to playing. Anyway, let's brace ourselves and take a peek from behind the couch at some unsettling Easter eggs. Number 10. The Hell Valley Sky Trees, Super Mario Galaxy 2. If the years have proven anything, it's that the colourful, adorable world of first-party Nintendo is anything but a safe space free from eldritch horrors. To that end, in Super Mario Galaxy 2's Shiverburn Galaxy level, players who enter the first-person perspective and look up to the mountains in the far background can spot 3 shadowy, ghostly figures staring down at them. No matter where you are in the map, the entities are still visible, blankly glaring at you, their intentions eerily uncertain. Ever since the game's release in 2010, fans have speculated on whether these creatures might be aliens or ghosts, but without any further context within the game code or from Nintendo themselves, the truth remains a mystery. All the same, it's one hell of an eerie Easter egg to include in a game made primarily for children, and I tell you, little brothers the world over didn't sleep for days after this. Number 9. The game whispers your name, Black and White 2. Just when you thought there were limits to the extent that video games could mess with you on a very personal level, Black and White 2 came along and smashed that barrier to bits. At the start of the God Game sequel, you're asked to enter your name for your profile, but the game isn't actually asking you out of mere polite courtesy. Oh no! As it turns out, Black and White 2 contains audio recordings for around 100 common names, and if yours happens to be one of them, the game will periodically have a disembodied voice speak the name quietly in a spectral, deeply creepy whisper. By contemporary standards, it's hardly a technical masterstroke, but for a game released in the creaky old days of 2005, to use the player's own name against them was so unnervingly unexpected. If you happen to be playing Black and White 2 while in your home alone, or God forbid wearing headphones, this likely made you nope out, instantly turn on all the lights and call your mum. Given what AI text-to-speech is capable of these days, it's probably just a matter of time before a game tries something similar with literally any name you dare to type in. Number 8. The Cursed Gnome, Battlefield 5. Now, Battlefield isn't exactly a franchise that most players associate with scary bollocks, but Battlefield 5 basically used that to its advantage. On the game's Arras map, players can find a number of garden gnomes littered around, and players being players, there's a good chance that many will take some pot shots at the porcelain ornaments, but doing so will basically unleash a curse of sorts, as a gnome will start following you around the map. Anytime you turn around, you'll see the gnome mere feet behind you, and in case that didn't unnerve you, it'll also glare at you with glowing red eyes, its gaze even following you as you move around. Shooting it again will only cause the gnome to momentarily disappear before respawning to continue its totally not terrifying pursuit of you. But from the gnome's perspective, as an apparent living thing, you can at least appreciate why it's got a bit of a bone to pick. Number 7. The Meat Bag, Resident Evil 4. Because the original Resident Evil 4 apparently wasn't pulse-quickening enough, the entrance of the prison area in Chapter 5-4 has a gnarly extra surprise waiting for inquisitive players. Though you'd be forgiven for running straight past the nearby dumpster, and honestly, you probably should, those who stop to open it will be greeted by, well, how do we put this? A squirming sack of flesh, as the game's official strategy guide calls it. The dumpster houses a white sack covered in blood and contains, well, something deeply unsettling that is wriggling around, as though it wants to break free. You're thankfully unable to open the sack and see the contents for yourself, though you are able to stop it squirming by popping a cap in it, which is probably another way of freeing it, I guess. Ugh, either way, gross. Number 6. The Headcrab zombies are talking backwards. Half-Life 2. Now here's something you really will wish you didn't know, so this is your final warning to stop watching. Actually, don't stop watching, just skip ahead. Half-Life 2's Headcrab zombies are goddamn terrifying at the absolute worst of times, with their monstrous screaming and sheer panic-striking appearance making them amongst gaming's all-time most unsettling enemies. But things get even worse once you know precisely what noises the zombies are making. A few years after Half-Life 2's release, it was discovered that the zombie screaming is actually reversed, and if you reverse it again to play it forwards, you can hear them shouting in agony, "Oh God, help me, please help me." Knowing that the human who is playing host to the Headcrab is on some level aware of what's happening to them makes the critters all the more disturbing. If you want any chance of sleeping tonight, do not listen to the reverse soundbite more than once. Number 5. Hanging Commander Keen. Doom 2. Doom 2 couldn't get any weirder than the Easter egg of creator John Romero's severed head hidden inside the final boss, right? Right? Well, about that. In the game's secret level, Map 32, the final room contains 4 hanging corpses of Commander Keen, the star of the eponymous side-scrolling platformer franchise, also created by Romero and id Software. Worse still, to open the level's exit switch, you need to shoot all 4 corpses, causing the bloody remnants to flop to the floor in nauseating fashion. Given that Commander Keen is a decidedly more family-friendly IP than Doom, and Keen is a bloody 8-year-old no less, even the most trigger-happy of Doom players surely needed to circle the block for a moment after desecrating his corpse 4 times in quick succession. Number 4. The Crying Baby. Bully. Okay, Dave, and yes, we're on a first-name basis because we're pals and all that. Listen up, you cheeky whippet. You knew exactly what you were doing with your submission last week so as to get picked for this list, because not only did you mention an obscure Easter egg, but you also pulled me in by calling it a deep cut. Baby! How could I refuse such obvious pandering? I mean, know your audience, kids. So, let's talk about a rather rare but nevertheless completely freaky Easter egg that can happen if you linger in the game's pause menu and will sometimes even randomly play during gameplay. Normally, the sound of a baby crying is enough to make anyone's skin crawl. I mean, just see Yoshi's Island as an example of this. But what makes this particular audio oddity so strange and unsettling is that nobody seems to know why it triggers, and more importantly, why it sometimes never stops playing. Some fans have mused that the sound effect is triggered by accident and then the game's audio just doesn't recognize that it needs to be switched off. But for more superstitious gamers, this has led to theories on the ghosts of Jimmy's past, a horrifying murder mystery, or the souls of former residents looking for revenge. To be honest, it's likely the audio engine just being rubbish, but still pretty bloody creepy. Number 3. The Krypt Jumpscare. Mortal Kombat 9. When creativity isn't on the cards, why not just randomly bamboozle players with a pant-filling jump scare? That was the case in Mortal Kombat 9, as players who'd ventured into the game's crypt found out to their coronary-inducing peril. At random points during your time in the crypt, often as a result of standing in one spot for too long, the game will suddenly hurl a grotesque mutant crypt monster at you, their cursed face filling the screen as they make a piercingly loud screech. It may be low effort, but it's nevertheless incredibly effective because it's so damn unexpected, ensuring many surely instinctively smashed the power button on their console and walked away. This jump scare proved effective enough that NetherRealm brought it back for Mortal Kombat 10 and 11, with the added inclusion of QuickTime events which allowed you to fight back. No, we'll just be avoiding the crypt from now on. Thank you. Goodbye. Number 2. The Spider. SWAT 3. The virtue of following orders is exemplified no better in SWAT 3 than if you forego the game's many warnings in pursuit of this utterly skin-crawling Easter egg. In the game's hotel level, if you go down the stairwell and head underneath the stairs at the bottom, you can activate a secret passage, but you'll probably really regret it. The winding hallway to the thing is lined with warnings, at first politely suggesting you probably shouldn't continue onward, before straight up telling players, no kid in here, you're not even really supposed to be here. Keep going and you'll fall down a shaft where you'll be met with a gigantic tarantula. Now admittedly, it's only a low resolution image of a huge spider rather than a detailed 3D model, but this arguably only makes it even creepier and more uncanny. You'll probably start instinctively opening fire on the monstrosity, but the spider can't be harmed no matter how much lead you pump into it, and it will make short work of you, all while another sign on the ground gloats, "Can't say I didn't warn you, eh?" And number 1, the heart of Liberty City, Grand Theft Auto 4. And finally, the Grand Theft Auto franchise is no stranger to kooky Easter eggs, though reached a new zenith of creepiness with the WTF contents of GTA 4's Statue of Happiness. The Statue of Happiness is of course Liberty City's version of New York City's Statue of Liberty, though many players assumed you couldn't actually enter the statue due to the lack of on-ground access points. If you fly over the statue and leap onto the balcony area, you'll find a sign insisting there's no hidden content this way. You might think. Now, if you're among the 99.99% of players who ignored that sign, you'll go through a nearby door, climb a ladder, and be faced with the, innards of the Statue of Happiness. Here you'll be able to see a gigantic beating heart that's held in place by a series of chains. And while Rockstar likely has no intention of ever explaining this, knowing that there's a maybe alive statue frozen in place in Liberty City and possibly being held there against its will is definitely sketchy and very creepy. And there we go, my friends, those were the 10 most unsettling video game Easter eggs. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to be picked for next week's list, then have a think about what is the best single-player game that for some reason or another you never got around to playing. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram and AX, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, my friend, and I hope that you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you deserve the bloody best, alright? Go out there and absolutely smash your life goals today, because I bloody believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.